In this video, I want to talk about how PurgeCSS could reduce your bundle size by quite a lot. I've been wanting to use this package inside my personal website project for some time now, but I couldn't get it to work. So I've asked the maker how to use this thing properly, and he showed me how to use it. Fortunately, it wasn't too difficult, and in this video I'm basically going to show you how you can use PurgeCSS to reduce your bundle size, especially if you're using something like Bootstrap. And the impact is quite big. So you can reduce your bundle size by like 100 kilobytes. If your website is a megabyte, let's say, that's 10%, and that's a huge improvement over what you have, right? Okay, so let's get started. So the instructions are very clear, actually. It's kind of difficult to understand how this thing works, but once you understand how it works, then it's really easy to configure. It might cause some problems depending on what kind of project you're working on. If it's super complex, it might cause even more problems, and it's kind of difficult to notice if it causes any problems, actually. But in my case, it didn't cause any problems as far as I've noticed. So let's go ahead and try to use it in our project. So first thing you want to do is install this npm package called PurgeCSS. Full Human is the group that maintains it. Well, actually, this package is written by this guy, Florial, and he's nice. He helped me set this up. So yeah, let's go back to IntelliJ, and first thing we're going to do is to install PurgeCSS. And this is for these instructions are for if you're using something called cracker. So what cracker does is it basically allows you to modify webpack configuration without exporting your React app. This gives you the flexibility of modifying your webpack, but without having to deal with all of those React dependencies. All right, let's copy this. Let's go back to IntelliJ, and we're going to install this package as well, and we're going to do --save dev. We're going to save this package into our development dependencies. Let's go back and read the instructions for this. After you install this, it tells you to modify your start scripts as such. We are going to do this towards the end of this stream, probably. Okay, so, well, instead of modifying our package.json, first we're going to make PurgeCSS work, and then we're going to come back to our package.json and modify it. All right, so this dependency is now installed, and if we do cracker start, it's going to complain. It's going to say that cracker configuration is basically not found. So that's what we need to do. We need to create a file called cracker.config.js inside the root directory of our application. So right where the node modules directory is, you're going to create something called cracker.config.js. So let me copy this file name in here, and that's the root of my project. I'm going to right click new file, paste that in. So you're going to create a file called cracker.config.js. Add it to git, and it should work now. Yeah. Right now it doesn't do anything. It's just an empty file. Whatever we put inside this will get injected into our webpack configuration. As you can see, this is just my regular website. No changes whatsoever. It's literally the same thing. All right, let's go back and let's follow the instructions. What it's asking us to do is to create something called module.exports in here. So what we put inside our module.exports will get injected into the current webpack configuration that lies inside the node modules directory. Right. So I've spent quite a bit of time with Florial today, trying to make this thing work. But basically, copying this into your cracker.config.js is how you should get started. So we're going to replace the contents. Well, if you're using ESLint, this is going to complain and say, this should be listed in the project's dependencies, not dev dependencies, but this is actually a dev dependency, so you can suppress this error. It's fine. You can get rid of this comment. It's very obvious that this file is called cracker.config.js. Right, and let's clean this file up. Okay, so this is how you inject PurgeCSS into your webpack configuration, and this content section is where you specify the locations for all of your project files. So the source directory is already specified in here, but we do not have any HTML files inside our source directory. All we have is JSX files, right? So what we're going to do is we are going to replace this HTML with JSX, and what this tells it to do is it will look under the source directory in here, and it will go into every subdirectory, and it will scan through everything basically. Like it will go through the components, like all of these things one by one. It will go through here. It will scan all of the JSX files, and it would just check if we've used the specified style or if we haven't used the specified style. So make sure that you point to all of your JSX files in here. We don't use any TypeScript files, so we can just remove this one. And also we will, so first of all, let's see how this looks, right? This is probably going to break stuff because we haven't pointed it out to this index.html file, because Florial said we should also, if we encounter any problems, pointing our pointing our exclusion content, I think, I'm not sure what to call this, like just point the directory in this array into the index.html. It's apparently gonna work better. Don't know why. He's the one who wrote it. You can open an issue on GitHub and ask him why. Anyway, so let's do Cracker start again. I'm expecting the website to break quite a lot. Right, as you can see, we have some white margins around the website in here, and also our navbar is obviously broken. Our fonts are broken, and he said the way to fix the fonts is, as far as I remember, by the way, I have a backup. If I fail, I'll go back to Sublime Text and I'll check what he wrote in there, because he made it work. And so what we're going to do is we're going to specify our index.html. So inside double quotes, we're going to do public. Let's go to the public directory. All right, and in here we're going to do index.html. All right, now we're going to do Cracker start again. All right, as you can see, our fonts are fixed now. So if your fonts seem broken, just point it to index.html and it's going to be all fine. Okay, so the reason why this navbar is broken is because it uses Bootstrap. I'm using Bootstrap in my project, in case you didn't know. So Bootstrap is a framework it's a giant CSS and a bunch of JavaScript files that allow you to like quickly bootstrap a project, and then you can create navbars very easily without writing any JavaScript code, because like all of these things come with Bootstrap built in. And if you click that button, all right, one sec. So as you can see, clicking that button is adding a class called collapsed, right? And then there's a class called show. And those class names are coming from Bootstrap itself. And the way that currently, because we are not specifying where Bootstrap is, it's excluding everything. We should specify which class names are used, right? Yeah, so the way that you do it is, let's go back to Google Chrome. In here, there's a configuration. So these are the options that you can specify into PurgeCSS. And apparently, the way you deal with these things is you add them to an exclusion list. So there is a file somewhere in our node modules directory. Fortunately, Florial knew where this thing was, and if you don't know, it might be very difficult to find digging inside this node modules directory. But he has seen this issue before, and he knew how to fix it. And he just this is the final cracker.config.js we're gonna reach into, right? The next thing that we need to do is we need to add this collapse.js into our exclusions. Let me go into that file and explain to you why we need to add that. So we're going to go into Bootstrap. You're going to go into JS and this. I don't know what this stands for. Distribution probably. And this collapse.js contains our class names and like yeah. So it contains all of the class names that manage the navbar in Bootstrap. So we need to tell PurgeCSS to go through this file as well and just check if we're using any of the styles. Not quite sure how that works, but it has to go through the file and it does some sort of check where it verifies if we use that class in our project or not. So to specify this file, well, the easiest way is, I think, yeah, we can go into the node modules directory in terminal, and then Bootstrap, and then JS, and then in here we have the this directory, right? And in here you can see the collapse.js file, right? We're going to print the working directory. That's our working directory right there. We're going to copy node modules Bootstrap JS distribution, and then comma. You're going to paste this in, but don't forget to add a dot at the beginning, and let's get rid of the new line in here. And we're going to type the name of the file collapse.js, right? So this will tell PurgeCSS to look inside this file as well and make sure all of the class names in there get added to our project, right? And if I do cracker start again, let's close this terminal window. That should somewhat bring our navigation bar back. But as you can see, we still have an error, right? We are on the desktop site, but the problem now is it's not showing the desktop version of the navbar. It's just showing the mobile version, and also it still looks broken, right? There's one more thing that we need to do to make this thing work. Okay, let's go back to IntelliJ, and actually let's go back to the file that Florial configured for me. Right, this is where we start whitelisting CSS variables that we know that are required. Well, all right, let's go into this thing. So as you can see, there's something called basic scroll bar nav. Like there are a bunch of things that we don't know what they do. Navbar collapse, for example. Where does this thing come from? So navlink, these things probably come from Bootstrap, right? And you have to add an exclusion saying if a rule starts by navbar, such as this one, you shouldn't exclude that class name. I know that this is like very difficult to configure, and this is very specific to the project. Like this is micro optimization level. The best practice would be to never include Bootstrap, and I'm planning to do that in my projects sometime in the future maybe, but in the meanwhile you just have to go through all of these things and then check if you are using the classes. All right, what we need to do now is we need to whitelist all of the rules that start with navbar and end with something else. This is a regular expression. It says if anything starts with the navbar, don't care what the rest is, just include it and exclude it from the exclusion list. So this will force PurgeCSS to ignore everything that starts with an navbar and just put it in the project, not remove it. We're going to copy that rule, and we're going to go back to IntelliJ, and we're going to put a comma in there and paste this thing in. Right. Okay, so this thing actually, yeah, it tells well, yeah, I've explained it. It tells PurgeCSS not to delete anything that starts with navbar. Okay, let's run cracker again. Hopefully this time you can see our navbar being fixed. Okay, so everything in our website seems to work, right? Yeah, so the navbar is working perfectly fine and everything seems to be okay. Right, there's one more thing that we can do though, to optimize further. Okay, right. And I think I have to build a project to be able to show you that. Okay, so let's clear this. Right, we're gonna do cracker build. So what cracker build does is it just does npm run script build. It just runs npm run script build for you. It just creates an optimized production build. And then I'm going to do a Firebase serve so you can see all of our CSS file. The compiled CSS file actually. Okay, once this finishes, I'm going to do Firebase serve. Let's create a new tab. Let's go to port 5000 because that's where Firebase serves. Okay, so this is a production copy of the website. Let's go to network and let's go to CSS, refresh the page. And in here, you can see the big chunk. This is the Bootstrap CSS that gets baked into our project. And as you can see, it has a bunch of rules that we don't use, like colors, right? We could get rid of these things because I'm not using any of those in my project right now, right? If you're using any buttons, these things, they're required by buttons, and if you do the next thing that I'm going to show you, you're probably going to break all of the colors for your buttons. But there's this really cool thing that we could do. So let's go to PurgeCSS config. There's a config variable called variables, and this if you set this to true, it removes these variables from, where are they? Yeah, these variables from the Bootstrap CSS. So that's what we're going to do next. We'll come back here and we're going to do variables, and we're going to set this to true, and we're going to put a comment in here: removes default Bootstrap. Oh wait, can we? Yeah. Okay. Right, let's take a look at our CSS size. Right now, this file is 27.9 kilobytes, right? I'm expecting it to be smaller the next time. Okay, so let's do a cracker build again, so it compiles our CSS file. This will take a while. Okay, let's do a Firebase serve again. All right, let's refresh our website, and now you can see it's 27.1 kilobytes. We managed to save 0.8 kilobytes, which is almost nothing, but we are down at the micro optimization level. We're optimizing every single bit, right? Okay. All right, so this is cracker config that works for my personal website, and this is the PurgeCSS config. Sorry, I'm using something called cracker to inject it into webpack. I've explained it at the beginning of the video. This might be very useful for you, but let's just see how much space we've saved on the website itself, right? To do that, I'm gonna first remove. All right. Okay. All right. So let's see. Let's do an npm run script build. This is a build without Krakow. Like, I mean, this is a build that basically skips over the PurgeCSS configuration and includes all Bootstrap into our project. Let's see how big the website is, and then let's do a build with Krakow, with PurgeCSS, and then see how much space savings we got. So this is without optimization. Let's refresh our website. Our website size is 1.6 megs without any compression. Like, I mean, if you upload it to your Firebase, it applies gzip compression. But okay, the production size of our website is 1.6 megabytes, right? All right. Let's do a Krakow build. By the way, how many? Oh, let's just go into CSS. 158 kilobytes, and it was 27.1, right? Okay, you're gonna see it's a lot of difference. All right, now we're gonna do a Firebase serve. All right, you're gonna refresh. It was 1.6 before, and we are down to 1.5. That's a lot of space savings. And our 158 kilobyte CSS is down to 27.1 kilobytes. That's just massive if you think about it. Like, we haven't changed anything in our website, but we managed to save 125, 100, I'm really bad with maths today. Anyway, yeah, we saved over 100 kilobytes. 158, yeah, whatever. It's been a long day. Right. And I'm going to come back to modifying my package.json, and in here I'm gonna, instead of removing these, because I'm probably going to use these in the future as well, I'm going to modify the start and the build scripts. I'm just going to add more of them in here. Default Krakow recommends you replace these with Krakow start and then Krakow build, but I'm gonna just do I'm just gonna add something called Krakow start, which will do React scripts Krakow start. I'm just gonna quickly check if that works. npm Krakow-start. Okay, that didn't work. Maybe, I'm not sure how to modify this package, so well, I need to learn how to modify the scripts thingy. Let me quickly go back to the website. I think there was a tutorial, like there was a guide in here, right? Okay, if we just replace start with Krakow start. I see. So if I do npm run script, if I do this, okay, figured it out. All right, that's it. All right, that's how you do it. All right, this is npm Krakow start, and then we're gonna have a Krakow build. Okay, well, this is pretty much it, and I'm gonna modify my shell scripts now. I don't remember where I put these files actually. They're under scripts, website scripts here. deploy and serve. Cracker.build. Yep, and then deploy. Well, this is the same thing, right? Let's just copy it, paste this thing in. Okay, we modified our deploy scripts, and let's modify our run script. Okay, can we not add something? Anyway, that's something I can do off stream. I don't know how to modify those things, but that's okay. That's not going to go in the Git repo anyway. So we've added this file. We've modified package.json. We've modified our deployment scripts. Okay. Let's revert back our pictures because I don't. Yeah. All right. So these are all the changes that you need to do to make Cracker work if you're using Bootstrap. And depending on what you use from Bootstrap, you might need to add more stuff in here. But long story short, this is how you can save over 120 kilobytes from your bundle size. It's just dead weight. It's just sitting there doing nothing. And it's much easier than refactoring your whole project to not use Bootstrap. Okay, and now I'm going to do a deployment. It's running Cracker build, and this is going to production, and we're just going to see how much of an impact we can make. This is the old version of the website. If we refresh it, oh wait, did it already go through? Okay, well, it's already deployed anyway. Well, there you go. We've saved over 100 kilobytes. That's a massive improvement, actually. Okay, thank you for joining the stream, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.